Today is February 2nd, 2014, and I wanted to share with you some progress that I've had in my indoor grow room. And what I have here is I have 20 tomato plants, and what I did is I had tomato plants growing at the end of fall, and I just cut the suckers off the vines, planted them in pea gravel and plastic cups, and put them in my PVC pipe hydroponic system. And I just keep cutting the tops off, trying to keep them down low, trying to get the stems to thicken up, and hopefully they'll stay alive till the weather turns nice outside. Then I'm going to take some of these and plant them outside instead of trying to grow them indoors, because they got really tall really fast, about 12 feet tall, and they were just too hard to try to control. So I got those under fluorescent lights, and they're growing really well. I just have to keep cutting off the tops. And down at the other end, I just planted new lettuce about a week ago, leaf lettuce, and I've got 20 new lettuce plants growing in there, and it grows really fast. In about 2 weeks I'll probably be able to harvest some of this and start eating it. And once you start harvesting it, it actually grows almost faster than you can eat it. So that's growing really well, also underneath the fluorescent lights. And then once I move the tomato plants outside, then I'll probably just go lettuce all the way across, have about 40 lettuce plants in there, and that should work out pretty well. Okay, now some other things I want to show you here is this here is my Dutch bucket system on this side of the room. This here is a tomato or a potato plant, and I started that at the bottom of the bucket, let it poke through the perlite, and then I kept covering it up. Every time you cover it up, it forces the plant to grow more potatoes. So now it's at the top of the bucket, so I'll just let it continue to grow, and then once it flowers, I'll be able to dump the bucket out, and I should have a 5-gallon bucket full of potatoes. These here are bell peppers. I just started these last week in little peat pots, and today I just transplanted them into these plastic cups in peat moss. And I went ahead and I put them in the dirt because I'm going to save these until the weather gets nice, and I'll put them outside. I didn't have any luck trying to grow peppers indoors because the flowers, the plants would flower, and then the flowers would fall off the stems before I ever got any peppers. So I'm not real sure what I was doing wrong, but I'm just going to move these outside when they get bigger. Down here at the end, this is something new I'm trying. These are called Tiny Tim tomato plants. They only grow 12 inches tall, and it's more like a tomato bush than a tomato plant. You're supposed to get tomatoes within 60 days, and they look like little cherry tomatoes. So I'm going to try growing these in containers and also outside in 5-gallon buckets. I have more in this seed starting tray that haven't germinated yet, but since these were above ground, I wanted to get these underneath the lights. In this bucket I have another potato. Planted it later than the other one, and it was poking through, so I just covered it all back up today, and probably within about a week it'll be above the surface again, and then I'll just let it go from there. Over here I got 2 more bell peppers that I planted in the fall, and I just keep topping the tops off of them, trying to get the stems to get thicker, and I'll grow them outside when the weather gets nice. As you can see, these are growing in pea gravel, doing really well. It's a Dutch bucket system. Once a day I put water in the top of the bucket, flows through, and it comes out the bottom into another 2-gallon bucket. The bucket will not hold any water whatsoever. I got 2 more bell pepper plants down here. This is my oldest one, and you can see how nice and thick the branches are on this. Keep topping it off. This is almost like a pepper tree. and I hope to have real good luck on this once I move it outside. And what you want to do is every time the stem comes to a V, you want to cut it off right below that V. And what it does is it forces the plant to get thicker in the stems and the branches, and it causes growth down at the bottom of the plant instead of at the top. And it makes the plant focus on growing instead of flowering. And a pepper plant will actually live year-round as long as you keep it away from cold weather and you don't let it flower. So like I said, this one's probably a good 6 months old, and it's doing really well. I got another bell pepper plant here at the end. A couple more things I still need to seed. I've got some miniature peppers that I need to get those seeded probably within the next week or two. And I have some more Tiny Tim tomatoes that I ordered off eBay, the seeds. And then when I get those, I'll have to seed those. So there we go. Right now we got bell peppers, potatoes, Tiny Tim tomatoes, and beefsteak tomatoes in the hydroponic system, and leaf lettuce in there. Now, what's interesting about these potatoes is that all the research I did told me that potatoes that you get from the grocery store, they won't grow if you put them in the ground, because they've went through a radiation machine or something to keep them from growing in the store if they sit in the store too long. But this potato is actually bought at Kroger's, right off the shelf, and I let it sit on a shelf in my living room for actually a couple of months until it grew eyes, and then I planted it, and here we go. So potatoes from the grocery store, I guess, will work, but you have to let them grow eyes first. Because I did try it without letting them grow eyes, and all I did was rot. They never did grow. So there we go.